Anxiety and panic can feel like certain death sometimes, but today we're going to talk about why these symptoms are completely and utterly harmless. Keep in mind that not all symptoms will be mentioned in this video because there's just so many, but that doesn't mean that if some of your symptoms aren't on a list, that it's harmful. If it's anxiety and panic related, you can rest easy knowing that it won't harm you. Also, not everyone who has anxiety and panic will suffer from every symptom that will be mentioned. Most people have their own set of symptoms, and it's not uncommon for people to never experience all anxiety and panic related symptoms. Now, before we get into specific symptoms and why they happen, I also want to quickly go over the purpose of anxiety and panic. Anxiety and panic are there to save your life from threats. It's like your built in protection mechanism. However, your brain doesn't know the difference between a real threat and you just behaving fearfully over the anxiety and panic itself. So, to show your brain that you don't need protected, you have to use acceptance. Anyway, on to the point of this video. Symptoms and why they're harmless. Let's start with the most basic and probably one of the most common symptoms, a rapidly beating heart. What causes your heart to start beating so quickly when you experience anxiety and panic? Well, when fight or flight is turned on, your brain wants to prepare you for just that, a fight or flight. So the rapidly beating heart pumps more blood throughout your body. It's basically just your heart giving your body some extra juice in case you decide to take off running or fight a threat to your life. Now, given that your heart is one of the strongest muscles in the body, it's completely harmless and always will be. Moving on to our next symptom, shaking. Whenever fight or flight is turned on, we get a boost of adrenaline, which helps our bodies react quicker to any threats that may be present. That's why it's not uncommon for a person having a panic attack to feel like they need to run. Shaking is a very common symptom, and it's nothing more than the result of extra adrenaline in the body, which, you guessed it, is harmless. No matter how badly you're shaking, you can still function. The next symptom I want to talk about is changes in vision. While experiencing anxiety and panic, there's a good chance that things are going to look like what some people call HD or high definition. Why? Well, during fight or flight, our senses become extra aware of everything going on around us. Your brain is basically scanning for dangers that might be in your surroundings or possible exits in case you decide to run from a threat. Do I even need to say it? It's harmless. Up next, I want to talk about a symptom that seems to cause the most distress among people, and that is the overwhelming feeling of fear. Why does fight or flight make you feel afraid? Well, when anxiety and panic is turned on, the brain is assuming that your life is in danger. Fear is there to get you fighting for your life or running for it. Why is it harmless? Well, fear is just an emotion, just like happiness or sadness. People go to the movies and watch horror flicks because they enjoy being afraid. Now, I know that the fear that comes along with watching a horror movie isn't usually as intense as it is with anxiety and panic, but my point remains the same. Fear is fear, and it'll always be harmless. The next symptom I'm going to talk about is feeling like you're going to go crazy. This symptom appears simply because of the overwhelming nature of anxiety and panic. Now, is it truly overwhelming to the point of insanity? Of course not. But you may think that losing your mind is possible in the moment due to how strong anxiety and panic symptoms can come off as. But no matter how much anxiety and panic is there, going crazy just isn't possible. It's never happened to an anxious or panicky person, and it never will. Our next symptom is the urge to flee. Now, when I say fight or flight, it's exactly what it means. Your body is preparing you to either fight off a danger or flee from it. But since there's no real danger or threats to fight, most of us go with the only choice we're left with, which is to flee. So it makes sense that most people who experience anxiety and panic deal with the urge to flee the situation when their anxiety and panic is turned on. This symptom, like all others, is harmless and will pass as soon as the anxiety and panic comes down. But with that being said, should you run away in those moments? Of course not. If you do, you're just telling the brain that there was a real danger where there wasn't, and that it needs to keep your anxiety turned on just in case. Now, that was just a handful of anxiety and panic symptoms. I went with the most popular ones, but there is many more, and although they weren't mentioned in this video, you can rest easy knowing that all anxiety and panic symptoms are harmless. So, you have nothing to lose. Live your life despite these feelings. Show your brain that there is no real danger with how you behave when these symptoms are present, and you can retrain your brain to be much calmer.